Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, and I'm doing this early because why not? This is Board Game Design Vault Paradigm. So, this was like probably one of the oldest ideas I've had that I actually made something for, like on two separate occasions, and now this makes three. Uh, the first one, it had like a really nice box, so I'm hoping I can either find that again or just make it again. But anyway, the goal of the game is to get into fights, collect ego, and have your gates up to emerge out of the point of origin gate. Here, we'll put it on the inside. Be easier to keep an eye on. As part of the setup through the game, you'll take these 6 little gate chips and flip them and assemble them into a circle. Each player will take a color. They'll get their card. They'll get their ego. They get 15 of it, minus 3 for each of their gates that starts the game up. The sped ego goes into the center, and it can be recovered. Starting with the gate at the point of origin, that player can choose one of their face-up gates to start at. If someone would have 3 gates up, then we check to see if there's someone who has no gates up and flip up that one. If somebody has no gates up, then the one closest to the point of origin gets flipped up. But either way, there will be at least 1 gate up for each of the players. Adding an extra 3 if you have 2 gates up is a rules revision I worked on this version. Also, as part of setup, you'll have an 8-sided die set to a number for how long you want the game to be. 2 if you want the game to be really short. 4 it's a reasonable amount of time. 8 if you're committed to just being here for a long ass time and just rolling dice and having fun. But I think 4 is pretty reasonable. It goes next to the point of origin's first gate. This will move at the end of each round. And when it gets back to the gate with the die, this decreases by 1. And if it moves here while the die's already at 1, it'll just go to points. So, as part of the turn, you'll roll 4 dice. The person on or closest to the point of origin. And players will get action points equal to the number of their color that's face up on the dice. If there's 0, there's a special 0 rule for each of the player colors. Yeah, each instance of your color on the dice is a point to work with. For 1 point, you just move. Move to adjacent space. You can move to the point of origin gate for free, but you have to spend everything that's in your id. For a point, you can move a spent ego to your ego or an ego to your id. If you are on your own color of gate, it becomes 2 instead. So black has 2 action points. They're going to use their 2 action points to get 2 of the ego back and immediately put it in id. If you have 3 points of someone else's color and you start your turn on their gate, it actually makes more sense if we're over here. You can spend 3 and flip the gate over. You need to have all 3 of your gates up in order to win. You can spend 2 ego of the gate you're on. 1 for the gate that you're on, and 1 for the gate that's adjacent to swap them. Gate order matters for certain effects. Whether or not this counts as moving for the spend 3 to flip the gate effect, for your initial game, it does not count as moving. After that, this players should agree on whether or not it does. Because you're still in the same spot, but switching the gates. And that costs 2 movement, by the way. Or 2 action points. It seems really hard to just have someone go before you and swap the gate out from under you. So it's kind of an insurance policy. Alright. And the abilities, the actions where you can swap the gates or flip them, you can do them even if you have no action points shown on the dice. What happens if you have no action points? Like, for example, with this roll, black has 0. Well, in addition to swapping gates and flipping the gate they're standing on, they have their 0 trigger ability. For black, their special is to take 4 spent chips and add them to other players' id, so that if they get in a fight, this counts towards that player instead. For white, each player with at least 1 ego of not their own color has to spend it. And if they can't, then they have to spend 1 from their id. And then to make up for the fact that it's probably the weakest ability, you get to take a free spent to ego action followed by an ego to id action. And if you're on your own gate, you get 2, of course. Yellow. You look at the 4 gates and the 4 and the spent pile and take up to 4 chips from there to your ego. If you take any of your own color, it goes to your id instead. Red, they look at the 4 dice that were rolled and can take up to 4 chips of those colors. If for some reason there's none of that color available, they can take their own to their ego. The 0 abilities were, I think, the second. The revision of an early attempt with the game was like, if you end up with no action points, it kind of sucks. Let's add some extra abilities just to spice it up. But also they can be a bit powerful, so it's like, let's make them optional just in case. Actually, older versions of these, especially red and yellow, were like way stronger. It's like, take all the colors of all the gates or all the dice instead. And then white just screwed everyone with no real benefit to itself. Eventually, everyone will have spent their action points for the turn. With turn order being agent order, then if necessary, gate order. So here, yellow will go before white because yellow comes in the order first. Alright. So what happens when there's two or more agents in the same spot at the end of the spending action points? Well, there's a fight. And how the fight works is you'll look at what id people have, and you'll equalize it, and whatever's left is the advantage. So let's say white has 4 to yellow's 2. So white will spend their 2 because that's what yellow has. It's possible to have multiple people in the fight, and everyone will basically be reduced as needed. Alright. And then you'll actually roll the dice. Alright. So yeah, red wanted to be in this fight. So your battle score is equal to your remaining id plus the colors on the dice. So that's yellow with 2 and white with 3. So with white established as the winner, yellow loses 2 of their own ego. And then white takes their score of 3, subtracts the number of opponents in the fight, 2 or 1, and gets 2. Minimum 2, you take that much ego from the spent pile. It can be of any of the colors, but you're trying to get the colors that match the gates of yours that are face down. So yellow probably makes sense. Don't worry about trying to get back your own ego until it's like your actual turn. But just beware that if you end your fight with no ego, or no ego of your own color, then what you have to do is you go into crisis, spend all your remaining ego, take half your spent ego rounded up to go to your id. You go to your ego. Rounded down goes to your id. And if for some reason you have nothing left here because the player who beat you took the last tokens of yours available, and yours are split between everyone else, the game just ends in a 4-way loss. Right. Also, if you go into crisis as 2 turns in a row, it's also a 4-way loss. Maybe a bit harsh, but it is what it is. But ultimately, you'll have your 3 gates up, and you'll have at least 15 ego and at least one of all 4 colors of ego. At the end of your turn, you get to emerge and you are the winner. Otherwise, if it's the end of the round and no one has emerged, this moves 1 counterclockwise. Everybody with ego left in their spent pile gets 1 back, just passively. Again, if this cycles back around to the D8, it drops by 1. Now, if you want to do like multiple games where you're keeping track of points, then what you're looking at is point per ego in your own color, 2 points per ego of someone else's color, 5 points for each of your own gates that are face up, and then the total of spent ego is subtracted from your score regardless of whose it is. If you'd be at a negative score, you just get 0 instead. You just play multiple games and just keep track that way. Where the hell did this game idea come from? I don't know. This was just a random ass idea, and I'm still kind of mystified at how the hell it came to be in the first place. I think the idea was, can I make a board game with less than 100 components that if I say, here's how you can make your own copy of the game, someone else can make their own copy of the game. Because we've got the 4, 5, 6, 11, another 15, 75, 79. It's random as hell, but also there's some choices to be made as well. And you get to butt heads with your opponents. And it's just a weird ass game. Every time I come back to this idea, it's like, why am I coming back to this game? It's just very unusual. At the same time, it's probably the one game that I've actually sold a copy of. At an auction in Denver for like $3. It's like, here's this nice little box. It's a random ass game. I'm a total unknown. Starting at $1. And it got up to like $3. Go figure. But yeah, it's just something to play, and the fact that it's probably the only thing that I've really thoroughly finished and said I'm good with this design, I'm going to move on to other ideas, is probably why I like to come back to it every so often. But yeah, that's Paradigm. I thought I was going to do this for like my 1000th video, but I figured, you know what, let's get this done now. Let's just celebrate early, because I just didn't really want to put it off for too long. And I was just really happy about coming back to this. But yeah, making your own copy of the game. It really just go to freaking Hobby Lobby. Or go to wherever you get your hobby supplies that you're happy with. I only got the plastic tokens because I didn't feel like painting 60 freaking wooden tokens before doing this video. But this is something you can make for pretty cheap. I also want to test out setting this up in Tabletop Simulator once I have a computer that can run that. And trying it online with other people. Yeah. Paradigm. It's a game. Alright, thanks for watching. This is Pillar. I'll see you next time.